One of the interesting things about this piece of property is in the early days when Batesville was being developed, and so you have your river boats coming up the river, and to get to this location from the river, they would come up the bayou in smaller boats and bring mercantile things, items up to here, and then they would unload them, and then this is where a lot of your business district was back then. So the bayou is very much tied into this location, the history of Batesville, and as the bayou gets developed more and people start floating on it and all that, it's going to be a nice thing. This is going to be one of the entryways eventually. When the park's completely said and done, this alleyway is going to be repaved, and so this will be one entryway you'll be able to come into the park. This will be another way to enter the park. The main entrance will be down there where we're working right now. So if you come in through here, there's going to be a big deck right up here. So you would come right out here. This will be where there's a big deck, and it'll go all the way past that wall there. And so it'll be a place for picnics and places to sit. So then you'll be able to come on down these steps and go into the park. This is the area we call the Memorial Garden, actually. And this was where we kind of started with building the park down in this area. And so I've got a lot of things down here that are tied in to the history of this place. Because the lady that owned this property, her name was Ann Straw, and she was in the Maxfield family, and that's why this is called MaxfieldPark. And so, for instance, that big stone right there, that goes back to the 1800s when the first Maxfield came to Batesville, and that would have been around 1840 something. And he used that big stone, that was Uriah Maxfield, and he used it to tan hides on. He was in the shoe business, he made shoes. And that was in Ann's backyard, so we got that down here, brought that down, and a memorial stone for Ann's family. That's Booter was her husband, and she had a daughter, Meredith, and a son, David, and they're all deceased now. This is our waterfall. It's shut down right now, but it's a beautiful waterfall when it's running. And here we have a sculptor, John Ellis sculpture right here. He's an amazing sculptor, and he does all stainless steel things. This is one of his sculptures there. And this is our stage area for concerts or different events. If you need a stage, it's adaptable to bring a band onto, and so we will be doing some concerts down here eventually. One of the interesting things is all of the stonework, which was one of my visions when I first saw this place before we even started construction, was the ability to use a lot of stone that was covered under the ground down here, because there had been a two-story building from the 1800s down here that would have been a Maxfield building, and actually they sold horse-drawn buggies out of that building. So it had burned and collapsed, and all these rocks were laying under the ground. And so I thought, there is where we start. Another thing we've kind of restored and saved are these lamp posts, which those came from the Mickey Mouse swimming pool. And when it was torn down, there was about 5 or 6 of those over there, and I thought, I'm going to get those and save them and restore them. They have a porcelain enamel shade, and we took the posts and had them powder coated and rewired them. And I like to preserve things like that when we can. These benches were one of our ways to get started to kind of raise money. We would have a sponsor to buy a bench, and get some working capital to get started. This will be the front of the restroom in this area, and so we're going to use a lot of brick and rock on this side of it. And there was one of the schools in Batesville was Central High School, which is over there right off of Harrison Street, and it was a huge building that was torn down years ago, and it had a lot of stone and rock in it, and I don't know if you can see them, there's some little arches laying right over there, and we're going to use those above a window, and then there's some more places in here. If you want to walk around, we'll come over here and I'll show you. So these are like antique brick that we'll be reusing, came out of old houses here in Batesville. Here's another example of where we have recycled some local history. The fountain was in the backyard of the Crouch home over there on Boswell Street, and that would have been Jim Crouch. And he doesn't live there anymore, but the people that do live there didn't really like it, and they wanted to know if I could think of a place to use it, and I said, yeah, I can. So I took it out of the backyard and moved it down here. And then you'll see the funny looking little blocks in the back. Those are interesting. Those are actually not meant to be used like that. They were actually the walls of the Mickey Mouse swimming pool. And this is what you would have seen, this part. And but when I saw the inside, I really liked what they looked like. One of the most important bits of information about this park is that it will be a city park, but we're not using any taxpayer funding to build the park. So all the capital, all the money to build this park has been raised through fundraisers and donations and in-kind services. And at this point, we probably have invested over $300,000 in it. And I don't know the exact amount of that was in-kind, because there's been a tremendous amount of in-kind help here from local businesses and people, individuals that have helped us with that. And we're about $150,000 away from finishing the park. And so that's an important thing for people to know, and we've kind of set a timeline to try to finish this park this year if we can.